It is 4:01, and I'll call the Parks and Rec Cemetery meeting for Wednesday, April 23rd to order. We have a quorum. I will motion to approve the consent agenda of the April 23 and the February 17 minutes on agenda.
I'll second.
We got a first and a second. Any discussion on any of that? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes. Public comments?
Nobody online?
Chairperson comments? We'll wait and see if Eric's got something when he comes back. Committee comments? Thank you.
I have none.
I just noticed that there was a group of ladies playing pickleball today down at Ripple, so that was nice to see that that's being utilized and that's good.
Number 7, Director of Public Works, Parks update.
So we'll kind of get into parks update. Spring cleaning's in motion, getting the leaves and things picked up and the thatching done. We've got North Park, they're up there today picking up the leaves. South Park by the splash pad's been thatched and cleaned up. Pretty much ready for summer there. Ripple Creek, we got a little bit of leaf pickup to do around the fences and a few things. Otherwise, the fields have been thatched and good there. We've been playing some ball games on the field, so that's in good shape. The dog park, went through that the other day. I don't see any issues with that. Made it through the winter, no issues. Park shelters are up and open. Bathrooms are open, dusk till down to dusk on both parks. After the hydrant flushing, which is always the first week in April, we'll start working on the splash pad. Give us some time just in case we run into any kind of issues. We'll get the water turned on. We'll probably officially open up middle of May, but I like to always start now just in case we have issues, gives us time to fix it. Other than that, the parks, don't see any big issues. We're gonna be planting a tree in the Ripple Creek Park, with the School Ecology Club for Arbor Day and the Tree City. We'll be working on that here in the next week. Other than that, that's really all I have for park updates, I guess, at this time. I did include this, kind of like I told all the committees I was gonna add, our 10-year, 5-year plans, just different committee members and things like that, right? This isn't nothing, we hold to it, just kind of something I put together to have a long range of what the parks need to be done. I guess we'll go through the cemetery first. We're gonna do the crack filling this year of the cemetery, roads, and hopefully next year do a chip sealing. We might have to do the chip sealing in 2 years, depending on the budget. I'll be honest with you, it might be 10 and 10, but that's kind of, we'll see where we're at. The crack filling for sure is in the budget. That'll happen this year. 2027, we've got a blacktop, which comes between the cemetery and the water department, so that'd be a 50-50 split. Tear out and replace. Village crew would tear it out, rough it in, and we'd have a outside contractor come and blacktop that piece. Section 5, that's a new part of the cemetery. We've got a straight road going in, but we never put a roundabout on the end of it. The roundabout also turns into a water utility driveway too, so it could be a joint project on that also. That would finish kind of the new section 5 roads to get to it and a way to turn around. Right now, you just drive down, it's a gravel turnaround. At least we blacktop it so you could turn around. As we sell lots in the next few years, that'll determine how far we need to keep expanding. We have the cemetery expanded. We've got the pins in place, but the roads aren't, we're starting with the roads up front. We'll keep working the roads to the back. So that'll just kind of determine how we sell the lots in the next couple of years. And then the cemetery pump, we've got a new pump we purchased in early 2020, so it'll be going on 9 years. So I'm sure that'll start the wear and tear. We do water the new section as much as we can to keep it growing since the new improvements here a couple of years ago. And then the last 2030 be blacktop the east road. That's the road that we take the chips and grass clippings down, and obviously that gets wear and tear from the village trucks every day. We did the actual blacktop in the cemetery up an 1.5 inches, so it wasn't the thickest, but it's holding up good. Again, this is, just the maintenance things that I see in the next few years. The crack filling and chip sealing are gonna be very, very crucial in the next 2 years. The blacktop, just to kind of depend on how we expand and what goes on for sales for the cemetery. Other than that, the cemetery, we're gonna get out there next week and thatch and get that cleaned up, and we got always got some spring work to get some stuff, black dirt and some areas filled in, but looking in good shape out there. We planted a few trees last year to replace some of the trees that have died or blown over the last few years. Veterans Memorial will got new flags and all that. Will before Memorial Day, we'll go out there and hang the new flags and clean up that area. And yeah, keep that going. So any question to the cemetery 5-year plan at all?
The turnaround, that isn't gonna affect expansion. Just putting a little knob at the end.
Yeah, it'll just be a smaller knob. And again, we'll,
Care about if we,
yeah, we'll determine how many lots, you know, I think we got 300-400 left. I guess it'll determine how we're doing at that point if we extend. And so we'll, before we blacked up, we definitely have come to you guys and see where we're at so we can discuss future of that.
I have a question about the parks update, the splash pad.
Yep.
That's going on about 10
This
years.
will be the 10th year.
So any equipment failure or, anything need to be replaced?
Right, and that'll be the next one. I got some couple years out, but I do, but, so no, it's fine, but right now, everything looks good. I went down there the other day, visual, made through the winter.
Okay.
Obviously, we turn it on. Sometimes we got a couple sprinkler heads and we do stock some parts and some valves just because I know every year we've had issues. So every year I try to, at the end of the year, if we got a little bit of money in the parks, I go buy a few extra parts that we do break over the season down there.
But you don't foresee none of the features need to be replaced?
Not right now. Everything's been good. We had, a couple replacement over the years of warranty and the spinner ball and a few things we replaced. So the biggest thing is gonna be the actual concrete. If you guys remember when we had some issues with the concrete, Altman's sealed it up twice or whatever. That deal has kind of expired. So I believe next year we'll probably have to reseal the concrete again. That'll be on our own again. We cut a deal with Altman's. They did it twice.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look into doing that next year.
Okay.
So the 10-year capital parks plan, obviously this year which would be the next part, the legacy grant. We'll talk more into that, but repairing the walking trail that goes around down the park right now, that's blacktopped. The Ripple Creek culvert repair, which goes between Ripple Creek and I guess you can call it a creek or a stream across for Bunker. And then the playground equipment, the grant that like I said, we'll talk about that in a minute, but all being in 2025 year itself. The playground equipment at Ripple, like we've talked about, this is the last year on it. I've been doing your pictures. It's gonna be a hazard for safety. So we'll get through this year, but either way, that's coming out. Obviously the grant is gonna be a key feature to be able to replace that equipment. 2026, we resurface the tennis court / pickleball at Ripple Creek Park. Again, we're getting a lot of use of the pickleball. We painted it last year. If you guys remember, we turned the tennis into pickleball, and we're definitely getting some use out of that. But that's going on a 20-year surface that hasn't been reconditioned. So, there's a lot of ways to skin that. If we get the grant, we can look at it, making sure we get a good coating on it. If we don't have a grant, we got to do our own budget. It won't be as nice a surface that you can. It's going to be price determined, right? I mean, a good surface is 50, 60. I mean, I think we can resurface from the guys I use, for 15, but that's not going to be as nice a surface as if we get some grants, we have some extra money and we can talk about that, next year or whatever, moving forward. Albee Park, I call that North Park, Albee Park, the basketball hoop. There's a basketball hoop and it's nothing huge, but it's a little area that kids obviously nicks up in that area that kids do using it. It's seen its better time. So that's something, I think we should, clean up that park a little bit in the next couple of years. Add a basketball court and just a new pavement would add a lot. And again, the crew can do quite a bit other than the paving work for that. Picnic tables, Alexander Ripple Creek Park. They're starting to see their time. So 2028, nowadays picnic tables aren't cheap. $700-800. It's hard to believe, but to buy good picnic tables. So that's definitely something I do have tied in the grant a little bit, but something we'll be looking for in the next couple of years.
Are you still going with wood or is composite just not?
We've been using composite and we've got metal ones with rubber coating on them, right? And I don't have the right answer, but I guess I'd definitely bring some research from Rapids and different communities, what they're doing. I know Nakusa's putting a pavilion. I don't know what kind of tables they're using and kind of see what everybody's using because everywhere I go, if it's baseball or things I do to see, everybody's got different stuff. So that's an unknown question. One guy will tell me composite, one guy will say rubber coated metal, and one will say wood and paint it, right? We've had wood a lot of years and we've been painting them and they look good. We've replaced the wood at Ripple Creek. We've got steel ones with rubber coating on, and unfortunately the kids get deep enough, they pick the rubber coating, then we got metal coming out and then it's a sharp object for people to cut themselves. So
Rusts.
that'd be something as we move in. I'm looking for, know, you guys are out in the community too, whatever, what tables would be the best to replace them with. And then the splash pad 2029, you know, by then we're definitely gonna see some fixtures that are gonna need some replacement, maybe sooner, I guess I'm hoping we can get to 2029. If anything, we're gonna have to change something up, right? The same kids, the same, played on the same splash, fixture, so we need to do some updates. And I got more picnic tables a year after that. Big ones, you know, Ripple Creek fence. You know, if you go there and play ball or just hang out in the park, you'll see our fences are taking a tear. The Little League this year did repair field one backstop. PIBA paid to fix that fence. But it's gonna eventually come an issue. You know, the biggest at Ripple Creek is the ground settles. Anybody that's been here a long time knows that we built that on top of an old dump pretty much, so the ground settles, so the fence starts to come out of the ground. Every year the guys would go out, loosen the fence and try to drive it down, but at a certain point, the fence posts are coming out of the ground and it needs to be redone for safety. And I think that's a joint between the Little League baseball and maybe the school. We can kind of work together since everybody uses those facilities and try to do something. But right now, Little League is funding to fix the backstops in some of the areas that we have. So, and I know Eric and Betsy see those quite a bit, and they go to the fields and play on there with their kids. I mean, we need some attention, but I believe we're safe. It's just we could definitely use some attention. But it's going to be pricey. And then 2032, the wall down Edwards Park. If you drive down Second, the wall's starting to tip. I don't know how we'd fix it if we get rid of the fence. It's nice to have parks fenced in, but this could all be part of the YMCA tear down expansion, whatever goes on there. A lot of unknown. So as that project maybe gets going, we can move that into it. And then the last would be some more picnic tables. Again, this is just kind of some stuff that could need to be replaced over the few years that I've noticed. So any questions on that? If you guys are okay, I'd like to go to, I'm gonna skip C and go to D next, just because I think it ties in with our 10-year plan. You guys are okay with that? Don't really have any information. Obviously I applied for the legacy grant for 2025. I applied for $500,000 for Ripple Creek updates, which includes playground equipment, the walking trail, and resurfacing the pickleball courts. We made it through step one. As anybody knows, the legacy, it's a 3-step process. The first process is getting your project okayed, and we've been okayed. Now I put a slideshow together. I go in May to the committee in front of them and present my project, or village project, I guess you could say. And obviously I've been having some feedback. I do have some help and some people that have been helped me through the process of this. And I think we just a good chance as anybody, you know, with the YMCA, and I'm not using the Y as negative, but we lost, you know, the indoor playground for things from there, which it hurts us, and the walking trail in the basement, or the path and the exercise thing. So using those a little bit as leverage for the grant, and also working with the Y. I mean, I have the Y on board. They understand that we lost this, so they're kind of supporting us through this a little bit too. So I'm not getting excited until it's a yes, but I think we got some things in the motion. And again, like I said, I mean, the Ripple Creek playground equipment has definitely got to come down. And if we don't get the grant, it's going to be a tough decision, village come budget, where we're going to find that kind of money. Working with a couple different playground equipments. Once we get this actually secured, I'll have them come in here and present. We're down to 3 or 4 different playgrounds, you know, that'll fit that area, help with the school using it, and, you know, basically ages 2 through 12 is what we're looking to accommodate. We're still gonna leave the swings and the monkey bars are still in good shape. It's just the whole front of there, the swing, the actual slides and the walking trails.
You're gonna keep the sand?
I have it in there to get rid of it, but that's, you know, that's about 100,000 stuff. So I'm asking for I have the parks guys, the playground guys giving us the grand dandy package, and we can always whittle it down, but I do have all the sand coming out and putting the rubber mats in. I mean, that's definitely the way of the future. It's just gonna be a matter of how much we get and, you know, where we wanna go with the playgrounds. I mean, playgrounds, as anybody knows, I mean, get something decent is, you know, 3 to 350 is kind of the name. A lot of companies run a grant in October, November, you know, 50% off, no matter how you want to look at it, and if they really do it. But, you know, we'd be looking at using some grants at the end of this year, purchasing it for a 2026 spring installation, actually.
When are you supposed to see funds if you're approved for legacy?
Normally it's July.
Yeah, so.
Um,
So then would that still be something in 2025?
we'll start on it, it's just a matter of if we can get anybody scheduled, it's the time we know, as we know, companies get booked out if we're able to schedule any kind of work or playground. The playground, I think the grants is best gonna be to purchase the stuff in the fall, with the spring installation, but again, we can see where the money is and how we can do maybe the blacktop and the trails and some other things, but I'd like to do something with it, but we'll just have to see when if and when we get the funding, how we could schedule that out. What I'd like to do is, once by June, we know we'd have our next, and I'll talk to Chairman Humble, but I'd like to meet down the park. Once we get this, we'd meet down the park, have one of our meetings down at Ripple, so we can kind of see what we're discussing, to kind of walk the park and get a good feel where, maybe you guys see something if we do get the money, we can allocate it for different areas. So I'll keep you updated on the legacy. Like I said, I think May is when the presentation is, and then normally middle of June is when they actually release the funds. With that, I'll go back to C. So community events, and I'm looking for a little bit of direction, a little bit of help with this. Obviously the village has these events that I shouldn't say, we don't support them, right? I mean, the village garage sale, we do the flyers. I've got, porta potties donated by Port Pallets this year, Goodwill. We don't put any money into it. Memorial Day service, we just advertise that, same way. The trunk or treat, there's really no village, we just advertise that, and same with the tree lighting. These events, we support them, but there's no money from the village. Do we want to include the community events? Obviously, I know the Lions, the fire department. When we talk about community events, do you guys want me? And I know that across the Nepco Lake, just got a community event. I mean, are you guys okay? And when I put these community events calendar together, I include all the events from other organizations.
I don't know, sure.
It's in the community.
Okay, I just, before I put them on, I just want to make sure that, to me, it's a community list of all the events. I just want to make sure that there's no, I don't want to miss, I'll try not to miss somebody. I'll send it out to the schools and everything, but to try to put a list together, but I don't want to miss anybody's group or something like that.
Well, that can also be like a working document, right? Like you have what we already know, and then it's like, oh, the music club is having a brat fry. Okay, then you just update it, and then you can even highlight it, like when you post it on social media or whatever, like, hey, event added on this date or whatever. But I'm good with that. I think we need to support all of them.
Yeah, I would like to do that with the Nepco Lake anniversary. Port Edwards is a in-kind sponsor, no money, but in-kind stuff. And so it's free advertisement for that, and 80% of the property is in Port Edwards. So I'd love to have that be part of the community events.
Yeah, no, I have no problem. I just, before I started putting stuff on a community events list, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. So I'll update that, with the community events that I know of, and get to the schools and try to have a better list for you guys next month.
Thanks, Ben.
So the last one is, the Legacy Bike Trail update. So I kind of went back, when these funds were released, right? And I'm not here to make a big deal out of this, right? I want to stay on task, but obviously 2021 is when this, 21 is when the Legacy Fund was applied for. 2022 is when we received the $500,000 for the grant. Obviously over the last, whatever, we're going on almost 4 years. 3 years, we've spent money out of the Legacy grant, right? And again, I might have supported those and brought them up, so no big deal. So these are the expenses that we have done up to today. The bike trail, obviously MSA has got quite a bit on it, and that's just the legal terms of the bike trail, right? And making sure we had DNR permits, making sure we had easements and all that stuff. So as of right now, they're kind of out of the project. They've gave me the final print of the project, and from here on out, it's my baby, and I'm willing to take that on. They might have them come back once, do a staking, and that'll be just time and materials. So, and then I also included in this is the stuff that's left of the bike trail and kind of a timeline. So obviously anybody that's been out there, it looks like a war zone some days. Gas line relocation has been completed last week. Had a meeting this morning with Charter and Solaris out there on site. They're gonna be starting here next week. Gonna try to take them 2 or 3 weeks, but actually most of the fiber is gonna go on the other side of the road, and they're gonna remove all the fiber on the east side and put it to the west side. So which will help us out. That's we start digging in the stumps, so removing things. I mean, if you look at the wires, there's gonna be a lot of pulled wires.
Are they putting PEDs on that side then?
You know, put pads in and they're gonna feed them, and then right on the back of the trail, they'll put the flat pads right on the easement, the property
So they're gonna
lines.
drill underneath the road,
Yeah.
bring up the flat
Yeah,
PED basically.
and a lot of the people, and I learned a lot today, and I'm right or wrong, but you know, if anybody doesn't have, they're not using that service, they don't actually bring that service across, so there's not that many, as they were both going Solaris and Charter, I mean, this person's got this, I mean, so you, when you think of it, there's a long line, but there's not that many feeds going off it. So they're in the process of that, both of them were out there this morning, and I feel good about what they're doing, to remove that stuff. We gotta move, the hydrants that are on the trail, we're gonna moving those back, 5 feet, we've got easements, all that stuff. We're taking the same hydrant, sliding it back, putting a chunk of pipe in. I've got pipe in the yard. We're planning using those valves, and the village is gonna work with the contract more for the digging. We'll try to do the grunt of the muscle work of moving the hydrants now, and have an excavator come and dig, cause I don't have an excavator. And then we've got the one hydrant that's broke, that's on the corner of Pleasant View and Port Road. Since it's broke and we're fixing it, we're gonna turn it and move it out of the radius and get it down the road a little bit, just cause it's always been right there, hazards, you know, trucks and stuff have hit it over the years. This winter I had a call from a resident in Pleasant View that it was leaking. And I don't quite know what's wrong with it. We were able to patch it up, but it needs repair. So at that point, it's a good chance to move that one. So we're hoping to have that done here early May. And then we're gonna start the stump removals. My guys are gonna, once the cables are out of the way, we're gonna pull as many stumps as we can. Any stump that's in the bike trail, we're gonna remove. We're not putting the bike trail on top of a stump, because I don't want it rotting down over years. If it's up and out of the path a little bit, we're gonna grind them down and put black dirt for the homeowners to clean it all up. Catch basins, we're gonna move. We got a couple catch basins installed and move. We use poly ones now, so they're not heavy, not like building the old days, rebuild them out of brick. But you know, the cost of that is close to 10 grand to buy the catch basins because they're poly. But it makes it easy for the guys to install that. Then we got the rip rack and the wetland areas. We got 3 areas. We got to put rip rack. We're gonna get sand, which Urkel is gonna donate some sand through Beziner Construction. That was from the rail yard. And I got some rock donated through Precision, some bigger boulders that we'll put in those areas to finish that off with. And the rocks are gonna be 8 to 12 inches, so it's stuff that the village guys can handle. We're not talking big rocks, loader bucket, they can go down there and stack them up, build the walls. That's all permitted. We've got dimensions, staking out there from MSA on that. And then mid-June, we'll do the grade staking. And then get gravel insulation. We've got a lot of millings. If you guys remember, we've done a lot of roads in towns where we've milled. So Port Road, we've got quite a bit of milling, so we're gonna lay the millings down for both 6 inches, 6 inches of millings, and we're gonna put 2 inches of gravel on top. Gravel's a lot easier to work when it comes to grading, so we'll have to purchase some loads of gravel for that. Then we got the driveway removal and curb installation. We got some curb installation to do on Pleasant View, obviously, because it's a straight curb in on the bunker, just cutting some areas out and building the ramps that go up there and putting the handicap accessible parts on that. And then hopefully end of June, if things go good, I've got an estimate from the contractor ready to pave 2 inches thick, 9 foot wide, the path. And then black dirt, grass seed, and a few things like that. We're gonna use, get some black dirt, and we got some good mulch that I've been kind of saving. We're gonna mix it together. That we have to go to the cemetery and spread that down. There'll be quite a bit of black dirt, but we add the mulch that we have. And we can always till that in if we need to. Then the final thing is planting 6 or 8 trees. Some of the homeowners that we took trees down, I work with them and planting new trees in their properties. That DNR grant that we received, we'll save 6 or 8 trees for that to plant across there. So the kicker of the whole deal, and again, these are estimates. You know, when you see the financials, you know, we're about 90,000. I'm estimating 104. Give or take, we'll see where that goes. I've got money in the public works if we do have to go over on that. You know, if you look back at the years, we've supported a lot of other projects out of the legacy fund. So that's kind of where we've gotten to, I guess. And we paved a bike trail last year behind Bruner's to a bunker, which was $68,000. So if we're 10,000, a little bit short, I think it's justification. We've done other things with the money, unfortunately. So, but I'll keep everybody updated as we move into this. Obviously, once we get the hydrants and the stumps and the catch basins removed, we'll have a good idea where we're at financially moving forward.
Thanks, Ben.
Yep.
Questions?
So MSA.
Yep.
$140,000.
It was estimated at 200.
Oh, we got a deal.
I'm not saying we got a deal, but that's, I mean, as you see any project right now, and it burns me just as much as it burns you. I mean, we start talking Second Street back here, we start talking anything, I mean,
Yeah, it's like
It's
20%
crazy.
of your grant.
you know, where you got, and it's a different department. Public Works is gonna hear that we're talking about replacing Second Street. I mean, these surveying companies and designers and these guys they're naming their price right now. I mean, it'll be. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, that's why I'm trying to do as much as I can running the projects. I'm not hiring hiring them to run the projects. I mean, like I said, they were over 3 to run the project. And I'm trying to not use them, but you know, the crossing and the designing and getting all these easements and all this paperwork and, you know, that's huge money, you know, working with the county to make sure we got everything legally documented and things like that. So.
Thank you. Apologies, on my part for missing a long time, and I've got
That's
1, 2, 3, 4 important people, 5 important people waiting here, so we're gonna move really quick. Moving to 8, any old business, one. And none heard. Item 9, new business today. Thank you very much. I did not receive any correspondence. Do we have any that we wanted to share, Ben?
No, I think, like I said, you know, there's been talk about the bike trail, the documents are out here. You know, anybody can call me, I can sit down. If there's a resident that has concerns where that money is gone and what we've done with it, I'll definitely sit down and explain with them where it is and where it's gone. So we know, and like I said, we're on track to get that project done. I mean, if. you know,
Okay. Great. Next meeting agenda items will be probably similar to the ones here, updates going forward. Any other ones you want to add? Hearing none. Next meeting date, so help me with that. Are we sticking with the whole slew except for FHR?
I don't have a preference either way.
Yeah. Eric, Nick,
I
I'll
have
see you.
no preference. I think Eric's got a big gap. You're first and last today, aren't you?
yes, so am I.
I don't know if there's any way around that.
I mean, Wednesdays work because we don't have sports.
Hmm.
Most time, so.
I'm fine with
This is
Wednesday as
what-
well.
So actually, it's gonna be 4:00 on that Wednesday.
I think it's the
28th.
28th, May
Alright.
28th,
That sounds.
We're sticking 4th Wednesday, correct?
or the 3rd.
I think it's the third.
We
It's
were,
the third,
we
it's
were
the
the, we were the 3rd, the 21st would have been
Okay, the 21st would be the 3rd.
we moved this because of the reorganization.
So 21st,
So the 21st.
21st,
Yes.
Okay, that sounds really good. Without objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
4:29.
Again, my apologies. I don't, it's old age. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, this one has